So I was just passing a long, big truck with a huge trailer, and we both started sliding because we both hit this long patch of dry black ice, and my car was stuck under this thing. Wow. Can you imagine?
Oh,
This, what is 18-wheelers?
hey Abby, welcome to our What's Your Story series, where we get our friends to share about their love for cars and how they began the journey.
Hi, I'm Abbi Kanthasamy. My background is I'm professionally a mechanical engineer. Started off in the motion furniture business. Still am in the furniture business, but then I also own a restaurant chain called Cinema Group. You might have heard of some of our outlets in KL.
Yes, we have.
So that's those are the two main things that I do. And when I have time, I enjoy my cars.
Can I ask you, how did you get started into the food and beverage industry?
I was a pure accident. I hired this guy to work in my house who was supposed to be just, I was single, so I didn't want a female. So he was a butler, if you will. And he was just supposed to clean the house, wash the cars. But one day he just, we were having drinks on my patio, just said, hey, do you guys want me to make you some bites that'll go well with the whiskey? We said, yeah, sure, go ahead. So he made all these Sri Lankan, what we call short eats, little cutlets and deviled pork and, shrimp and, all these vade curry puffs. And we were all shocked. So we asked him, what the hell, man? We didn't know that you can do this. And he said, well, he worked in a restaurant and he was just an assistant in the kitchen, but he learned how to make most Sri Lankan dishes. So one of my friends said, hey, let's not waste this guy's time. We'll find you a maid. You open a restaurant and put him inside. So we asked him if he had some friends, and we opened Alia in 2007 with him. His name is Pradeep. He's now one of the chefs at Nadori.
Okay.
We sent him for formal training. So he's come a very long way from being a help in a Colombo kitchen to a Michelin chef. That's how it got started. And then we did some acquisitions, etc.
We've been to some of your restaurants, and a lot of our friends are regulars as well. Why don't you share a little bit about what the Cinnamon Group is about and the kind of cuisine that you do, and that way we could introduce it to the rest of the viewers as well.
Sure. We started off with Alia, which is a Sri Lankan restaurant.
And where we are right now.
Yes, you are. And this restaurant, has a bit of history. As I said, it's our oldest restaurant. So we originally started in Lorong Dungun in a bungalow. And for some reason, DB Gale shut us down, gave me a 2-day notice to vacate. So where we are now is we renovated this place within 7 days.
7 days.
7 days. Because back then, I had about 20 guys working in that restaurant. I didn't know what to do with them. So I found this spot and we moved here within 7 days from there. The kitchen, everything. And we kept Alia the way it is to remind ourselves of our origins and beginnings, which were quite humble because quite honestly, I couldn't afford to pay their salaries. Right? 20 over guys with no revenue. So we needed to open very quickly.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. So our strength was, we specialized in Sri Lankan food instead of Indian because we had a lot of competition for Indian.
Yeah.
But I found that there was no real Sri Lankan restaurant. So we ventured that way and then eventually ended up getting into Italian restaurants. And that became one of our fortes. We've got Chef Diego that joined us, who's been with us for now 15 years. So he's our executive chef for the group for Western restaurants. So we expanded the Italian restaurant range as well as the Sri Lankan. We've got a lower end Sri Lankan called Yal, which is affordable everyday place. We wanted to bring that food to the Mama level crowd because Alia is a little bit pricey and Nadori is at another level. It's to be fair, it's expensive, but it is a fine dining place and it is at the Four Seasons Hotel. So yeah, we expanded the Italian restaurants. We have 8 Italian restaurants now, and then we, landlords keep asking us to open more joints, and we come up with new concepts. So our team came up with a Spanish concept, bocado, which was very successful at the ACM Libre building. Then we opened a second Spanish restaurant in TRX called Las Marinas. There's Cafe Colombo there as well. Again, a casual cafe version of Alia. There's one in IOI. We're over 20 restaurants now. And our focus is really, we pay a lot of attention to detail, quality of the food. We really care about, the customer's, complete experience. We don't buy anything off the shelf. Every spice, that's what makes Alia and Yal and Nadori very different. Nothing in our kitchen is off the shelf. We grind our own spices. We roast our own spices. So everything's made, from scratch. We source our own ingredients. In many cases, we know farmers intimately. So that makes a difference, and it's demonstrable as but to some people, you don't notice it. But some people, foodies like yourself, you guys will pick up on it. But yes, there are these subtle differences, and that's why we're probably not the cheapest places in town. But that's our niche. We don't want to be the cheapest place in town for any category. We'd like to be the best. So even at a low price point, at Yal price point, we like to be the best at that offering. And we like to sort of disturb the market a bit and shake it up. So when I started Nadori, it was, I think we started at 500 ringgit a person for a tasting menu. People thought I was nuts. Who the hell's going to pay 500 bucks for an Indian meal? It's like, but we proved them wrong. We gave them a great experience, a good reason why it's that expensive. They're able to understand it. They realize that the ingredients are in fact very high quality. In Yal, I serve aquapana and pellegrino. At the same time, you can have a dosa for 3-4 ringgit. And then, there's that question, who the hell is going to buy San Pellegrino in Yal? Well, I believe that my customer will, because the guy that, like yourself, that knows the distinction, who's a foodie, knows that, the water you drink while you're eating affects what you taste. So if you're just drinking tap water full of chlorine and who knows what, the way it cleanses your palate, it's not nice. So we target, we love people that appreciate our attention to detail. At first, when I put aquapana and pellegrino at Yal, people are laughing at me.
Yeah.
Like, it's more expensive than your food than the menu. But people don't question. Hey, it's from Italy. But these things do make a difference. We serve Ili coffee.
Yes, I remember that.
So that's how we're different, and that's our angle. We always want to do something, with a demonstrable higher quality, not just blindly charge more, but give people a reason.
One of the things that I thought I found rather intriguing about you would be how close you are to your mom, and then how she has, as you've shared many times over, has become the inspiration for the menu and the dishes that come out of
most of our South Indian, Sri Lankan kitchens. Yes. Yeah, my mother's a professor by she's a professor, retired. Now does humanitarian work. She works with seniors with mental problems in Toronto. But that's her sort of her career after her career. But her real calling is cooking. She's amazing. So most of the dishes in Alia are her recipes. So we're in the middle of doing a cookbook right now.
Okay.
With Chef Siva and her jointly doing a Alia cookbook. So that should be coming out later this year.
Wow. What are the dishes that are something of your pride and joy in Alia that is very much inspired from your mom?
Well, it's named after her. So the Amma style crab curry, is very unique. It's her own way of making this curry. So she did her graduate school in Australia. And her best friend was this Thai lady. So she learned how to make a lot of Thai dishes. So she's got that background and experience using a lot of flavors that not Sri Lankans don't use. So Amma's crab curry has a bit more lemongrass. It is still a curry, but you can tell that it's had some influence from all over the place, probably Malaysia and Thailand, and it's unique. But then we have the traditional curries here as well, the Jaffna curry, the Colombo, roasted cinnamon curry. But yeah, that one's got her name on it.
What is your perhaps most memorable moment running the food and beverage industry so far?
Once somebody woke me up and said, Mel Gibson is at your restaurant.
Which one?
I scolded the guy and put the phone down. But it was in Aliyah.
Okay.
He was here.
Wow.
Yeah. So and the guy called me the second time, says, hey, no, he's really here. That was one. We've had all kinds of celebrities come and go through, but the most memorable, or to me, heart-touching experiences are when I see some guy join as a dishwasher or a janitor, and then see them eventually get a career going. You know, a lot of them are foreign workers. So to see people coming in, cleaning bathrooms to washing dishes, to eventually learn how to cut vegetables, learn some culinary skills, and then become a chef eventually, a manager. That's the most rewarding part of this business, really, to me.
Okay.
I love seeing that. We've had many examples like that. Guy comes in as a dishwasher and incredibly talented, hardworking, and ends up as one of our chefs somewhere. It's
Excellent.
It's inspiring. So I have a home in Toronto as well. So I've got a Forest,
An island forest, eh?
a Forest convertible, which I only get to drive maybe 2 weeks a year, because it's in Toronto and you can only drive it in the summer. So my brother pretty much drives that around. Here I have a Ford Raptor. My son calls it the monster truck, which I love driving daily. And then, sports cars wise, I've got a 355, which you restored to concourse condition, and a 458 Spider, 2 NA V8s.
Yes.
Yeah.
You had to add that one.
Yeah.
Naturally aspirated, old school.
Yeah.
Maybe you could describe a little bit about your feelings driving between the two stallions.
They're completely different cars. I mean, they behave completely differently. The 355 requires a lot of respect because it's old school. It doesn't have all the technology, but the sound of that engine is it's music.
She screams.
I don't know why we put a stereo in it. I still don't know how to turn it on. I don't think I've ever turned on that.
I have the code.
Yeah, I don't think you even got the code from me. I mean, anybody turns on a stereo in that car, first of all, you're not going to hear it. But the sound, it's just the most beautiful V8 I think they ever made.
It is.
It's a great engine, and we restored it really well, and it's humming.
Working the gears through the H-gate, that is a whole
that's a whole different feeling. You got to let it warm up.
Yeah.
These are the gear oils need to warm up a little bit, and once everything's flowing, it's like sitting in the middle of an orchestra with musicians.
What about the 458 Spider? What made you buy that one?
I had a GT2.
Yes, you did.
I had which I regret selling, but people just kept offering me more. This was during COVID,
Yeah.
Just kept offering me more and more and more. And it's a real track car, and I wasn't using it enough because, let's face it, it's not very comfortable. This is the old school GD2.
Yes, not as
bucket seats that don't adjust, and then if you don't drive it for 20 minutes, the brakes sound like an old locomotive. So it was not being used, and people just kept offering me more and more and more and more, to a point where I finally said, okay, I had it for 17 years, I think. So I said, let's just get something that could be driven a bit more. And the 458 is a lot more pragmatic.
Yeah.
It gets a lot more attention. Nobody notices you when you do. It's like, it just looks like another.
When you go to the gas station, right?
Yeah.
You feel like in a Porsche.
Yeah.
Not many people look.
No. Well, I mean, you don't get the looks, but the Ferrari get, obviously.
Yeah.
But the 458, I've just been reading about it, all the reviews, especially when the 488 came.
Yeah.
And then I felt like this was a good investment, just like the 355. The GD2, I literally sold it for double the price I bought it for, after using it for 17 years. So I try to buy cars, do some research. You buy the right car, you could avoid some of the crazy depreciations that some people get.
That's true. That's true.
The guys that bought the brand new 488,
Yeah.
I would predict that they'll be cheaper than 458s at some point. They have to be.
Yeah.
So buy the right one, you'd appreciate.
Between driving the 458 and the 355, 458 definitely. It's just generations ahead. Power, the way it handles, the whole driving experience, it's so different. But yet when you drive the 355, it feels somewhat perfect. It's like the right amount of power,
right amount that you can control, right amount of, it's got a slight understeer.
Yes.
Got a slight understeer that you need to get used to. But, and it's old school, so they needed to keep the center of gravity down by making everything low. So you sit low, because the newer cars, with the light carbon fiber technology, the center of gravity is low, so they can let you sit a bit higher, a bit more comfortably. So the old cars, they sat really low. So, but it gives you that old feel of, you just one with the machine a bit more. Whereas with the 458, I'm not gutsy enough to turn off everything on our regular roads, especially with the rain we get. Because I've had a very bad spin out on the GD2 once. So since then, I'm very, very careful.
Okay. The GD2 is called the Widowmaker.
Yeah. I became a boomerang. The car literally became a boomerang. Going around, doing a U-turn a little too fast. just gave it a gas just a tad too early.
And the rear end whips out, right?
Yeah. But that car, the feedback, the feel, it's naturally aspirated. There's no turbo lag. And when the engine warms up, it just talks to you. And
yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
And you just don't want to stop. It's such a great car to drive, and my little son loves that one.
Yeah.
That's his favorite car.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of photos with him, right?
Yeah. He loves it. He loves it. As a kid, I grew up on a farm, so in Sri Lanka. So I think I rode a tractor before I could really ride a full-size bicycle. Like I was 7 or 8, my uncle let me actually drive a tractor.
Okay.
He used to sit on his lap and ride around, sometimes the trailer. So I always liked machines and engines. I worked in a garage when I was in Toronto, part-time. Always sort of spent more than I should on cars. It was just something that I always liked. So I always had to have the best I could afford.
Okay.
I think my first car was a Honda Accord S hatchback, 86. Oh, I bought it much later, but it was an 86 model. And then I had a 240 SX, which now is very popular.
Yes, it is. It's a drift car.
Yeah. So I had that for a while.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Malaysia in '98. I think my first car here was when you guys released that GTI.
The Satria.
Yeah. I couldn't get used to the prices here. Everything was literally 3 times more expensive. Because the Satria GTI, I think, is the price of an M3 in the US. Yeah, so it was crazy. But I bought a Satria GTI. Really enjoyed it. It was a fun car those days.
It was a fantastic car.
It was a great, great car. And then I had a series of 911s. I was always a Porsche fan.
Which 911 did you start with here?
So how it was is I'll buy the best 911 I can afford.
Okay.
Keep it, fix it up, and I was lucky. So I stuck to air-cooled 911s. So I think I just started with a regular Carrera, and then the next one was a Carrera 4, and then it was a Carrera 4S.
Okay.
And then I came across this GD2.
Then you went water-cooled.
Yeah, went water-cooled the GD2. Big mistake. I mean, cash-wise, the GD2 worked out okay. Any other one, if any other 996, you'd have lost everything. But that one worked out okay. It was. I think the guy told me that it was the only accident-free GD2. Although I spun it once, but it didn't. I didn't hit anything. I didn't hit anything, but I did spin it. Turned into a helicopter.
And after that?
Then
You went straight for the 355? Was that it, or?
Yeah, the GD2. After I sold the GD2, I bought the 355, and as you know, that we took our time restoring that. And no, when I sold the GD2, I got the 458.
458 first. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Then you itched for a 355. Is that how it went?
Yeah. Well, that's something that
Everyone wants.
I've always wanted to have one.
Okay.
And we bought it from a guy that tried to make a 355 look like a
Yes. He's a friend of ours.
Anyway, God bless him. We had to reverse engineer a lot of his Pininfarina era. He was redesigning a 355. We spent quite a lot of money.
Yes,
And but we have an I think a great piece.
yes. She drives well.
Oh yeah, tries well. His running was no objective. The old school Daytona.
Okay.
Maybe 1972, 73, 250 GTO. Oh, the 288 GTO.
Wow.
So 288 GTO is probably
That's expensive.
yeah, probably one. I'd love to have that.
Oh yes.
But they're just unaffordable.
No.
You can just think about them.
Yeah. You wouldn't dare drive the car.
Yeah. They were, we missed the boat. They, in the 90s, they were so cheap. F40s and those just, now they're gone crazy now. 2-3 million pounds a year. Nuts.
If we all could predict and each of us picked up an F40, it would be happy days now.
Yeah. And then the 288 as well.
Yes. Correct.
But that's, the 288, I think, because you can still drive it today. The 250 GTO is something to keep in a museum, and it's crazy.
Yeah,
The last price is over 50 million pounds. The 288, that's just, I love the way the car looks.
So that would be your dream car.
That would be my dream. There's a sign that I have in my own office that faces me, and it says, there are two types of people in the world. Those who are humble and those who are about to be. So I look at it when I sit on my desk. Kind of reminds me to just, keep your feet on the ground, and end of the day, it's about that. Honestly, it's funny you asked that. Yesterday I gave a speech at the UNHCR event, and somehow or other they found out they needed it was a fundraising event, so they needed to show what a refugee can become. So the fact that I was a refugee, we got kicked out of our house burned down. It's not a unique scenario in Sri Lanka. I mean, literally millions of people went through it, so I'm not nothing special. But that's something a lot of people don't know. Okay. People think that this guy, just looks like it wouldn't guess that background. That we did go through a very hard time in my hometown back when the Civil War was going crazy. So yeah, people don't know that this guy was once a refugee. There's been many. The funniest recently has to be when you bought the 355 jet and you wanted to take a test shot of me driving it.
Yes.
And the fuel gauge
ran out of fuel.
Showed half a tank, and then the car ran out of fuel going up the hill, literally 2 blocks from my house. That was pretty funny.
It was.
Yeah, that was funny. But not so funny once with the 240 SX when I was in university in Montreal, driving from Toronto to Montreal. There's this thing called black ice. Black ice is when you don't see it. The road looks actually like tarmac,
Yeah.
But there's a very thin layer of ice, and if you get out, you can't stand. You'll do the splits.
Okay.
Because that's slippery. So I was just passing a long, big truck with a huge trailer, and we both started sliding because we both hit this long patch of dry black ice, and my car was stuck under this thing. Wow. Can you imagine?
Oh.
This, what is 18-wheelers? Was stuck under the trailer and dragged. I can't believe that guy didn't see it.
Okay.
Just dragged me for probably a good kilometer or so. And then there were snowbanks on both sides of the highway. So for some reason, it slipped a little bit, and one of the rear tires just kicked me.
Okay.
Kicked me out, like spat me out. And I landed on the snowbank, at a 45-degree angle like this. Just, it was crazy. I got out. I just, using my whatever I had in the car just to dig out the snow, make the car come back, and just drove back to Montreal.
The car was okay?
It was driving, but it had quite
bodywork damage.
Yeah, I think the frame was bent a bit. Yeah, but they were able to pull it out. Luckily, I had insurance. But it was so scary.
It was. I can't imagine.
Right? Under the sand, sparks flying. and your car's going sideways, so your wheels aren't exactly spinning, but it's all icy stuff, so it's sliding along, right? That was scary.
So you're watching Fast and Furious and you're like, yeah, I've done this.
No, not quite. I mean, this was, I really thought I was going to get like...
You're under a trailer.
Yeah, I was already thinking, how the hell am I going to, what's going to happen next?
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Wow. What's your ideal car?
4x4 high, my Raptor.
What color would it be?
Right now it's orange with dinosaur claws.
And what's your ideal weekend?
It's these days it's with kids, maybe a round of golf.
Okay.
A good drive somewhere.
Nice and simple.
Nice and simple.
Yeah. No food, no wine.
Well, food, yeah.
Come on.
Can't escape that.
Are you an introvert or extrovert?
I'm a Gemini, so I could be both.
Which one do you lean more towards?
An extrovert.
What's your favorite hobby?
Photography.
Want to tell us a little bit about it?
Well, the photos that you see here, we changed them around, haven't for a while. These are shot in Africa, Kenya, Tanzania. This is sort of a wildlife series, but I do travel photography.
Yeah. I've seen your series on Sri Lanka.
Yeah,
they're beautiful.
And I do a column for the Star under Bizcations, which is business persons travel.
Okay.
It's basically photographs and whatever I write is an extension of captions being sent.
Okay.
Yeah, so I love photography.
What's your favorite movie?
I'm a big Quentin Tarantino.
Did not know.
So,
Kill Bill?
I mean, great movie, don't get me wrong. Love it. Reservoir Dogs.
Okay, so that wraps up our short interview today. Abbi, thank you for being with us. It's been a pleasure having you, and it's awesome to hear you share everything.
What's your story?